Hi everyone, welcome to The Real, The Raw, The Truth, Red Rose Recovery's podcast or YouTube video. And today we're going to be having a conversation with a lady called Lily, who has formed an organisation called Peachy AF. Do you want to say hello, Lily?
Yeah, I went really nervous when you started then.
Yeah, me too.
Hello, I'm Lily from Peachy AF. It's nice to meet you.
Okay, just to get started as well, because you and I had a conversation before about Peachy AF, and I have a uncouth interpretation of what AF stands for. Can you tell us what it stands for in your stuff?
Yeah, well, it can mean two things depending on where you want it, but it does actually stand for alcohol free. So it's peachy, alcohol free, but you could have it as the other representation, whatever you want.
Okay, cool. And just kind of getting into Peachy AF, I know a little bit of the background myself already, but how did you come to set up Peachy Alcohol Free, and what was the journey that led you there? Tell us a little bit about that, if you will.
So originally we were called Flamingo AF, and we were a big events company primarily, where we'd host alcohol-free events. That was started off the back of me and a friend on TikTok who were talking about our journeys of sobriety. We met up, we went for a few coffee dates, and it just, we wanted the fun. Do you know what I mean? So we decided to set up Flamingo AF, and we grew quite a big following from that. But halfway through, we decided that we didn't really align with the same vision. So we decided to do a little bit of a split, and she went her way and I went my way. And then Peachy AF was born. And it's just about, to put it simply, it's facilitating friendships after you get sober, making sure you have a bloody good time while you're doing it, and just giving you that support and that positive encouragement that you need when you first get sober, but also to continue staying sober by surrounding yourself with these, peachy people.
Yeah. So, excuse me. So, if I'm understanding that right, so what you're saying is when people get sober, they quite often need a set of friends. Everybody needs social connection and support and people to, moan about stuff too, but also to share successes with and to process stuff with.
Absolutely.
And your work is providing sober people to do that and to have fun with.
Absolutely. I'm sure you experience this when you get sober. You feel at the beginning that you don't know who you are anymore. You feel like you've lost your friends. You feel like you've lost what's my identity, because your identity used to be drinking,
You've
lost your confidence. Oh my God, how can I do that without a drink? How can I go on a date without a drink? How can I dance without a drink? All these types of feelings. And my goal with Peachy AF is to bring people in and show them that they can actually do these things completely sober. They can thrive. They can surround themselves with the right people, because you'll be amazed. If you surround yourself by positive people, you'll be amazed how much your life will change. Meaning for better, because there's no bigger influence than positivity. And these people will genuinely encourage you on your way because they're doing good. That's the thing about positivity. When you're doing good, you want someone else to do good. And it's just snowballs. And then before you know it, you've got 3,600 people in Peachy AF.
Cool. So when I saw some of the stuff around Flamingo AF, the partnership that you previously had, so Peachy AF still does kind of dances, and is that correct?
We will do eventually. We're still very young. We've only been launched for about 6 weeks. At the minute, we're focusing on, a few pillars, which are we're focusing on a few pillars, which are emotional wellness, spiritual, physical wellness, all of these things. Because I believe if you're getting sober, to stay sober, you need to make sure you're focusing on social, emotional, physical. I like a bit of spiritual, but you don't have to sign up for that if you're not interested. So at the minute we're focusing on like retreats, you know, like jacuzzis, saunas, cold dips, all these lovely wellness things, but alongside recovery or sobriety work, alongside looking inwards, alongside coaching and facilitating fun times, but also giving you a space to kind of look in at yourself and go like, well, why do I feel this way? Why is this happening?
Yeah. And one of the things I picked up, or I'm going to pick up on there, is, in a sense, I don't like the term safe space, if I'm honest. Do you know what I mean? But in a sense, you're facilitating that in a space where people aren't going to say stuff to like, well, why don't you drink? Like there's something wrong with you, or why are you looking at yourself so deeply?
Yeah, well, in a way, it's funny you say that. It's a safe space to say I'm in a safe space. Do you know what I mean? It's like one of those places where, you know, everyone's there for a reason. They want to stop drinking or cut back their drinking, and they're doing that because something in their life is not aligning right. You don't stop drinking if everything's perfect. Do you know what I mean? You're stopping drinking because something's not quite right. So, you know, it's offering you these fun connections and experiences and times. And just as that happens, it kind of unravels these trails of thought and, you know, things that help you like identify what this was and how you're feeling. And also by giving you positive environments and friendships and seeing that you can do these things as well, because you're doing them not knowing that you're doing them as well, because you'll come to an event and you'll be expecting to do one thing, and then by the end of it you've gone home and you've gone, oh my goodness, I've just like sang in the middle of a room in front of people, like, do you know what I mean? Or I've just danced sober on my own. I can't believe I've just done that. And do you know what I mean? It's like all these things that you go home and you're like, oh my God, I can do that. And it's so it is really, it is a safe space, but it's also, it's a bit of like, it kind of tricks it out of you a little bit by just having fun and just being you.
So creating a relaxed and fun environment that then feels safe enough. And just to kind of clarify my point, I have no opposition towards people having a space that is safe to be themselves. I think the world should be like that. My opposition comes from sometimes cliched overuse of words and phrases to sound good. Do you know what I mean?
Sorry if I'm going off topic, but can I also
no, just go
as well? So I 100% get what you mean by that, because the word recovery as well, right?
Yeah.
I use this word a lot to make sure that I'm using it to show people that it doesn't mean, you know, recovery is different for everyone. What is recovery? But some people, you show the word, say if you wanted to go for coaching and you said to someone, here's recovery coaching, a lot of the time they'd be reluctant to go because they're scared of the word recovery, because that would insinuate that they needed to recover or something wasn't right. And a lot of people, I find, there's a lot of fear attached to that word recovery, or sober even, and it's stopping a lot of people from reaching out and getting the help or support that they need, because by saying they're going to somewhere where they're recovering, that means they have to admit that they've had a problem, and that's very difficult for a lot of people. So the reason you said safe space is a word that's scary, recovery is a word that's scary, sober's a word that's scary, but really what we're trying to do is trying to demonstrate that they're just words, really, and you shouldn't let them stop you from reaching your highest potential. And remember that recovery is different for every single person, you know. So that's also why we call it alcohol free, because a lot of people don't like to associate with being sober. So it's like, it's just about these words. And I'd love to tell people, you know, if it's just a word, you know, try not to look too much into it and just think, I'm doing this today because I want to feel better tomorrow. You know?
Cool. Yeah, I like that. I like that take on it. It's and for my own thought processes, you know, when I hear the word safe space, and in a sense, it's designed to make people feel that this environment is safe. But in me, it also sends this message, and this is my stuff. You know, I'm not a 100% well-being. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What that says to me is, you're not allowed to say certain stuff here because you might hurt people's feelings, Roland, and that doesn't feel safe. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Watch your mouth. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I think those types of spaces are created by not saying this is this, and this is how you're going to feel. This is a safe space. You know, it's created by an energy, really, isn't it? And like the how you create it by. And I know before we were talking about your Sons of Anxiety Strength Club. It's like you create that environment by putting your heart, soul, and passion into it. You know how these people feel, their anxiety. You've been through it. Me too. I've been through it with my drinking, and me feeling like I got sober young and didn't. I was like, oh my God, like I'm going to have to just knit for the rest of my life, you know. I'll have to spend my life in church halls. Like, this is it. This is all I've got, you know. And it's like the reason why the space that you've created and I've created is so welcoming and you open up is because it's made with this, and it's literally created from those feelings that we don't want anyone to ever experience again.
Yes.
So we've gone and we've worked and we've gone, right, how do we not make people feel like this? And then we do it.
And for the, I don't want to digress and talk about myself because that's my favourite subject, but to a degree with Sons of Anxiety, there's nothing too fancy about that. It's just being real. And when someone walks through the door through the first time saying, hiya mate, you okay? And being nice to people, a lot of problems can be solved or addressed by just being nice to each other, do you know?
Honestly, I often get accused from family and friends of being too open, being too oversharing. Now, I'm not saying everyone has to do this. This is me, and to a point, sometimes to a degree. Oh no, actually, I take that back. It's never bit me on the ass, but some people tend to think that it will, but it never has yet.
Yeah.
But the reason why I am so open is because the minute that you share a bit of your story to someone, they just open up. And sometimes I've had people come to me and they've gone, I've actually never told someone that before. And that is, imagine if we had a world where people would just communicate, just tell their story. They weren't ashamed. There was no stigma attached to it. Imagine how many unresolved issues would just be resolved just simply by not holding on to them.
Yeah, totally.
Do you know what I mean?
I think I do. And in doing so, we then do create a, forgive it, but safe space just by being real and saying, yeah, I get it, mate. I know exactly how you're feeling and come with me. I've had this. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean, I know I'm aware of time and I know you'll want me to move on. But the anxiety thing, right, this makes me, when I used to suffer bad with anxiety, and I still get anxiety now. I was nervous when I started this today.
Yeah.
And I get the physical symptoms of anxiety, you know, where you shake, but I know I can do it, and I know it will settle down. But when you've got an anxiety disorder, it's different, isn't it? But when I had my anxiety bad, for some reason, my anxiety would tell me that no one's to know that I'm having an anxiety attack, you know? So I sat there panicking and having anxiety about my anxiety. And I'd be going, oh my God. But the minute that you just walk up to someone and or someone close to you or nearby and you just say, I'm having a little bit of an anxiety attack right now, like, and I just take a minute, you know, it just, you know, it's the minute that you're a bit vulnerable and you kind of open yourself up to allow us to be supported. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to I've forgotten my point now. Well,
that's okay. What you're saying, I'm relating to, and it makes me think of something. I do a bit of public speaking as part of my job. You know, I sometimes have to get on a stage in front of 100 or 200 people and speak. And I try to do what you're talking about doing, which is be open and be real, because that tends to set everyone else at ease. It gives them permission to be real as well. And one of the things that when I first started out on that journey of trying to become a better public speaker and do what I'm passionate about doing, one of the things that people said to me was, if you're nervous, don't admit it. And I was like, no, I had to bite back a swear word then. I am going to admit it. And I get on stage and I do the opposite of what everyone says you should do. And I go, I'll be honest with you, I feel quite nervous. And when I do that and kind of own it, I think that makes me more real, and that helps me.
100%. And I honestly, you could get me talking for hours here. I think there's some bloody, it's not real. Oh, I'm swearing. Sorry.
It's all right.
There's some sort of, it's not a conspiracy theory, but like all these people that think you have to be like very like, why can't we show our emotions? Like, who said we can't?
Yeah.
How many people have, you look at these leaders or whatever, all the people who are very like matter of fact, they get no one by them. Who's the people that gets people behind them? It's all the people who are real, relatable, you know? It's I actually got one of my sayings from one of the Red Rose Recovery. I think it was it might have been one of yours. Was it Luff? Or
yeah, but be aware I might invoice you later. Nah, go ahead.
It might not be Luff. It was one. I'm sorry, I have done a few, but one guy got on stage and he was really, really nervous. And he said that he'd nearly cancelled that morning.
Yeah.
And his brain said to him, just because you're nervous doesn't mean you can't do it. And
okay.
I don't know why that really, really related to me then.
Yeah.
And maybe because I was shaking. I was about to go. That was one of the first times I've public spoken. There was about 200 people there. It was a big one. No, about 100 people. I'm exaggerating, but anyway, I was there and I was like writing and he said it and I was like, oh my God, yeah. Just, yeah, your heart might be pounding. Yeah, you might be shaking. But can you do it? Of course you can.
Yeah,
Of course you can. And, I love watching someone realise that they're up on stage doing something and then halfway through they're like, I'm doing this. I'm doing it. And then they just drop the nerves. It's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, I like that. Just because you're nervous doesn't mean you can't do it. And part of my ongoing recovery journey, one of the things I identified quite a while back, if I'm honest, through strongman and strength training, that's part of my motivation for Sons of Anxiety, was I recognised that a lot of the good things that I deserved and wanted are on the other side of fear. Do you know? And for me, it's maybe sometimes having someone walk me through that. Have you got that written down?
Before, when you were walking me through, we did a little chat, didn't we? My first thing that I wanted to speak about is fear.
Yes. Cool. Well, let's get into that. This chat, if I'm honest, is migrating away from what we already discussed, but that I like that, that's real and human, isn't it? Yeah, so let's talk about fear. Tell me what your thoughts are.
Well, it does actually relate to what you wanted to say, because you were saying talk a little bit about your life experience, right?
Yes.
First point I wrote down for that was fear. Okay. What was stopping me? I was very aware that I had a problem, right? My dad was an alcoholic, right? Okay. I, in about 2020, started to realise that I cannot stop, right? I keep trying, had all the apps, I'd do a little bit. I was on my own doing it for about a year and a half, right? Okay. And I just couldn't smash it, I couldn't do it. But I kept on doing it and I kept on thinking, oh, well, today will be the day, I'll do it. But why do you think I didn't reach out for help? And it's all because of what we've been talking about, that fear, that shame, and all those words, recovery, sober, I can't possibly be in recovery. I'm 30. Well, I was 29 then. I'm 29. Like, I can't be in recovery. What what will the neighbours think? You know.
Well, I was just going to ask what the fears were, and in my mind, I was thinking when it comes to that point of asking for help and admitting a problem, it's often fear of judgment, isn't it? And it's fear of being rejected and fear of not being liked and shunned and all. And those are all primal fears, I think. Those are normal. And when I say primal fears, I'm talking about if as a caveman you were shunned by the tribe, you would probably die that winter.
Yeah,
and that's normal, and that's evolved into us. But for some of us, that becomes exaggerated, I feel. But yeah, anyway, I'm digressing again. I warned you, didn't I?
The reason why I'm looking away is because my mind, because you've triggered off so many things of thought, and I've got ADHD, so I hear something, and one side of my brain is like, poof, conversation, and then I'm like, stay on topic. So I totally agree with all of that, and all those fears, and also a fear that I wouldn't have noticed it was at the time, but looking back, is the fear of the amount of work that needs to be done. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know what that word is, but I remember thinking like the overwhelm of it. Like, how am I ever going to feel myself again? How am I ever going to get better again? You know?
Yeah.
I've gone. I remember saying, I've gone. I don't know if I'll ever get myself back. And that is such a prominent feeling that I get sometimes when I hear people saying, like, you know what, obviously in the position that I'm in, I get people coming to me a lot saying, I'm struggling, I'm a failure, I've effed up, am I allowed to say that?
You're allowed to swear if you want. I'm just trying not to do it because that's a bit of work I'm doing myself.
I don't need to swear. I've effed up. And it's like I relate to that feeling because at that moment for them, they feel that that's them forever. You know, I'm sure you can relate to this. Like if especially if you've been drinking, right, and you're at everyone's at the end of the tether with you. You're at the end of your tether with yourself. You've drank. You've done something, maybe not even stupid. You've simply just drank again. People are done with you, and you're there, and you're like, I'm never going to come back, am I? Like, this is me forever. I'm stuck. And the irony is that you don't see it then, but you're actually a lot closer to getting better than you think. All you need to do is believe in it and be willing to ask for the help. And it's all about that fear, isn't it? That we go back to where it's like, how do you get over that fear? And to be honest, it sounds like I'm trying to be a market in my own group, but you get over that fear by joining. I'll name drop yours, Sons of Anxiety Strength Club, Peachy AF. You get over that fear by joining these places and going, well, that person sounds like me, and they're doing that. Oh, and that person. Oh my God, did you hide the wine bottles too? Oh my God, I'm not the only person in the world that's done this. You know, it's exactly
you've perfectly brought me full circle to where my mind was going with all this, is that when we're in that place of fear and is this it for me, what hopefully happens in that situation, and what happened to me was I was exposed to somebody who described themselves, and I sat there, and he was 18 years clean at the time, and I was sat there 2 months clean, and I am going to swear, and I said in my head, he sounds like he was as fucked as me, and he looks like he's doing all right. I'm going to do what that kid's doing. That's what. So the importance of hope being available at that time, and someone to walk that person through to the point where they can see and receive that hope.
Yeah, 100%. But I do have to say, and I say this for people who haven't had that moment yet, because you know, you do have to be willing, but you also have to be ready. And this is horrible to say, actually. Sometimes you can go through hell and you're still not ready, you know. And I would love to take people by the hands when they're going through hell and go, get sober now, right? And sometimes they're not ready and they listen to people. Oh, I tell you what, I'll talk about me. I wasn't ready. I was nearly lost my husband at that point. I'd been to hospital. I'd tried to commit suicide.
Yeah.
I still was not ready, not at all. And I was going to a recovery program, and I was sat in meetings, and it was just going in one ear out the other. And I was even thinking in the meetings, oh, I can get booze on the way home.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's so strong sometimes, but you have to continue going, because the thing is, you do have the want to get sober, but then the disease sometimes or the will is too strong. So you're there, and eventually I kept going and I kept going, and I wasn't getting anything. And then one time out of nowhere, I just got this like light bulb moment.
Yeah.
Where I just connected to something that someone said. Now, I don't know why. I don't know why. And to be honest, it was a story about, everyone was laughing because it was one of them funny stories, you know. And it was a story about hiding wine. And then I related to it, but it clicked. And I thought, oh my God, like, I'm not the only person in the world that has this. This is a disease that, you know, she's nothing like me. And with the same story, do you know?
That's what happened with me, with the fella I'm talking about. And again, it was in a recovery setting, but it wasn't about drug or alcohol use. It was about fear. You know, that's what it was about. And I identified with another human being. I realized I wasn't alone, and I was inspired by where he was up to versus where I'd been up to that night, doing the exact thing he'd been doing 18 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. You have got to find that. Sorry.
No, carry on.
You have got to find that inspiration, haven't you? And it's like the fear of it is massive, and like it does stop you from reaching out and getting help. And what I'd love to say to people is, if the words recovery or recovery program or meetings scare you, just change the words. Just don't say, you know, don't say that. Like, for instance, I can think of an example, but I don't know if you'll be allowed to use it. So I was an atheist, right?
Yes.
Complete atheist. And the idea of God would make me feel angry, you know? And I didn't want to hand over to anything. Do you know what I mean? I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
But I just changed the word God to something of my understanding, you know? Something that I understand. And that's where we come back to that saying that I said before about being willing. You've got to be willing. And even if you haven't had your light bulb moment yet, like you and I have, and like millions of other people do get eventually, you've still got to be willing. And I think that's what I was trying to say before when I lost my trail of thought, is that even if you haven't had those light bulb moments and you're still stuck in fear, you're still stuck in anxiety, you're still stuck there looking around the room going, everyone else here is getting it, why aren't I getting it? You know, It's just got to be willing to hope to be willing. You know?
Okay. Yeah, I get what you're saying. And one of the things that was springing to my mind, I've heard it in recovery, and it's in certain contexts has proved useful to me, is fake it till you make it.
You know what?
You know, 100%. Sit down, do the action, and then the brain will follow in the end.
Honestly, right, this sounds ridiculous, and this might not work for everyone. I'm only talking about myself. That is 100% why I am where I am now, with my spirituality, with my sobriety, with the way I think. I'm a very grateful person, right? I can spring off gratitude lists like this, and this, and this. When I started gratitude listing, I couldn't think of one bloody thing to be grateful for. I'll be there and it'll be 3 things, just 3. And I'll be like, couldn't think of anything. But now I am grateful for that load of washing over there, because I've got clothes, I've got kids, you know. I'm grateful for all those dishes over there because I can afford food. I've got dishes to clean. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like I had to fake it to make it to get here, because at first I'd be thinking so negatively. I'd be stuck in this cycle. No one else feels as bad as I do. No one else has ever been treated as bad as I have. Nobody else feels like as bad as I drink because of them. I drink because of this happening to me, and all this negative thinking. I've got it so bad, blah, blah, blah. And I started by thinking, every time I had a negative thought, I'd be like, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. Try and be positive. Try and be positive. You know, I can't think of anything grateful. Find something you're grateful for now. Do it. You know, and then before you know it, we're there. I'm aware of time, by the way. I could probably go I could probably be 10 minutes late. That's okay if you want.
No, I don't want to make you late, and I was just about to bring up the time thing itself. And so what I'm going to ask you to do, so we can kind of neatly tie a knot in it, because these conversations could go on for days. One I always like to have with people is, what is ready? But we won't start that now. You know, and who are we to judge what readiness is? But let's put that on a back burner for another conversation.
Okay.
You tell us quickly about Peachy AF and how people can get involved and connect with what you're doing.
Right. Okay. So I am so passionate about Peachy AF. You have no idea. This isn't something that I'm making millions on, by the way. I mean, I am most of the time out of pocket, and I'm driven by passion, and I'm driven by that woman who was stood over there in this very kitchen, shaking and crying because she thought she'd never do it. She thought she'd have her kids taken off her. And it's driven by that. Peachy AF is a community that can make you believe and see everything that's already within you to get sober, and not only get sober, stay sober and have an incredible life. Things that you never even thought that you would do or enjoy, you do. One minute you sat there feeling negative, like you're never going to get better. The next, you're up and you're tie-dyeing t-shirts with a load of strangers and dancing, and you're just enjoying yourself. Or you're cold water dipping with us, you know. And it's not just, you know, sometimes recovery and everything is a bit overwhelming. So you don't have to just jump in, just dip your toe in and surround yourself with positive, encouraging people. You know, we have a retreat coming up. Oh my goodness, the date has lost me. It's in November the 9th. And it's a holistic and wellness approach to getting sober. It's a reset and a recharge before Christmas. So we've got our recovery coach there who's going to be, you know, talking with you and setting you in groups with people who are of similar stages with you. We'll be doing an alcohol use disorder test to see where people consider themselves to be, and you'll be grouped off. We're having some really incredible exercises, like a drumming circle, to make people, you know, let go, to empower people, to give people the confidence, because it's scary when you're given a drum, like drum, but we'll all be doing it together. We have a sauna, hot tub. There's an optional cold water dip plunge if you'd like to, you know, challenge yourself. That's assisted, and you will, you know, leave knowing that you can do scary things. And by the end of it, you're going to be, you know, strong in your sobriety. You're going to know what you've got within you. You're going to have that self-belief that you actually can do scary things, and you can do sobriety, and you can be happy. It's as simple as that.
Right. That all sounds awesome, Lily. So can you tell us in a practical way how people connect with you and how people get onto you and say, I want a bit of that, how do I get in?
I love the way you said in a practical way, meaning don't go off on a tangent.
Yeah. I've never been diagnosed with any such thing, but my brothers used to say to me, you've got ADD, you, because they'd start talking to me and then I'd just go, and I'd be thinking about cats with opposable thumbs or whatever it is.
I'm the same, but ADHD has actually become my superpower in sobriety. So don't worry, kids, if you've got it. So Peachy AF, we've got a website, www.peachyaf.co.uk. That's my presenter voice. We've got socials, which are looking like they need more friends on Instagram, if you'd like to go over, because we just restarted 6 weeks ago. So it's Peachy AF socials on Instagram. We give loads of tips and daily gratitude prompts and things like that. We've also got a group with 3,600 people on called Peachy AF Peachy Pals. That's over on Facebook. Now, don't worry if you don't have Facebook. If you join the Instagram or go on our website, you will get access to any upcoming events, which are ticketed, by the way, the events. You do have to pay for the events, but we do have a vast lot of free resources, meaning we have every other week, we have on a Sunday, we have the Sober Socials, which is an online Zoom meet. This week, we're going to be focusing on resetting from the week before, doing our intentions and goals for the next week, but it's all in a fun, exciting, laughing, oversharing kind of setting. It's hosted by me, so it goes off on tangents. Then every other Friday, we have our support Zoom, which is hosted by our recovery coach. Qualifications aren't everything. She's got a wealth of life experience. If you heard a story, you'd relate to it. It's amazing. But she also is completely qualified as well. She can support you and guide you in a group setting for free. We do have coaching one-to-one that is paid, but you do get a free consultation for that, and she will decide the package once she's spoken to you, and that is either a wellness coaching or wellness or sobriety coaching. She will meet you wherever you are on your journey. She's not going to label you. You're going to come to her and she comes to you, you know. We are hoping, I've started off a GoFundMe because this is a passion of mine, and my dreams for Peachy AF are far bigger than my pocket. So we do have a GoFundMe. I would love for this GoFundMe to fund expanding, so we could reach the areas, you know, that I'm not reaching, to reach other people, so I could pay for marketing to reach more people. But more importantly, the most important thing, I would like to offer more free one-to-one support. And I can only do that with funds and money. And that's basically it. And I hate being one of these persons asking for money, but there's only so far enthusiasm and drive can get you. And if you'd like to donate to our GoFundMe page, you're very welcome to. I will send you the link afterwards. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's fine. If you send me the link, and I'll also put up the link to your socials.
Brilliant. I also want to say about the GoFundMe, it's a community, so I'll be completely transparent with how it's going to be spent and where we're at with the money. When we're at a point where we do want to spend, there will be a poll put up in the community, and the community can decide where they best want to put it. However, I'm going to be pushing for more one-to-one support, which is where I am. But it's not a dictatorship.
Oh, cool. Right, I'm going to stop. We both have a similar problem, but I'm going to stop you there because otherwise you're going to be late for your other responsibilities. I just want to thank you for coming on and talking to me. We had a great open conversation, which I enjoyed personally. And as I say, all the stuff as to where to find you, I'm going to stick some of that on the underneath the YouTube video. Thank you very much, Lily.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody who's listened and enjoyed what we're talking about. And we'll call it good. See you later.
So much for having me. Bye.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.